Hi, I'm Heather from here booktubes. I have been sick for a couple of weeks now along with the rest of my family, so we are going to try and get some videos now, but it's still not going great. Like, everybody's just congested at this point. We're all okay, but you know, the video might not be that great. Okay, so this is worst books of 2022. I DNF all the time. I think I'm over 50 books DNF'd in 2022. So these are books that I actually finished, but gave a really low rating to, didn't enjoy, and have something rant-worthy about them for your viewing, entertainment. So these might not technically be the absolute worst because I probably DNF'd those and or have literally nothing to say about them, but I have 8 of these. I think I have a little bit of a controversial list, but yeah. This is going to be in chronological order that I read them. So the first ones are like back in January, going to my most recent. So first one is Bite Marks by Jennica Snow. Gina, if you're watching, look away. I do not like Jennica Snow. I have not picked up a single book by Jennica Snow that I liked even a little bit. Why did I pick up this one? I don't know, because generally I do not pick up books by authors that I don't think are for me, right? I just don't do that. But here's the thing about Jennica Snow. They are so good at synopsis and buzzwords and tropes and saying this has blood play in it and this has fated mates and jealous and possessive and all these things. I'm like, that sounds amazing. That sounds like exactly what I want. And then their delivery of the trope is about as fleshed out as saying the trope, as saying blood play. Okay, this is a vampire book, right? It said that it had blood play in it, and I swear to God, I'm pretty sure the blood play, like, delivery was the sentence, "He bit me and I orgasmed." Like, there's nothing to it. It's like, everything about her books, I'm like, that sounds amazing. That sounds like exactly what I would like, because she uses all the right words. But then when she's writing it, it's like, no, just kidding. No, okay, we're not going down that path. We're just gonna pretend like we're giving it to you, and then we're not, and then it's just a sentence. It's like saying that there's primal play when they were kidding the whole time and he chased her for 4 steps. Like, I can't take it. If you are going to market it to me that it has all these things that I love, at least have like some sort of execution of it. It's not even that it's slightly disappointing versions of it. It's that it's like barely there, basically non-existent. There's like one sentence to justify marketing your book as having it, but then that doesn't deliver what I wanted. I hate her. Listen, if I had $1 for every Jennica Snow book that I hated, it would be $1 for every book of hers I picked up. She is not the author for me, and I don't understand how she's popular. I think she's terrible. Moving right along, I have Meet Cute Club by Jack Harmon. I really like Jack Harmon as a person. I follow them on Twitter. I interact with them a lot. I really like them, okay? But I think their writing might not be quite for me because I haven't completely loved any of the different books that I picked up by them. And this one, I just hated everything about it. So we start off good. We start off pretty cute. This is a male-male romance, and one of the characters has a romance book club, which he's like, continuing for the sake of his grandmother and stuff. I don't know. And then the other one has never tried romance and is like a bookseller, I think. And, they have an antagonistic meeting when he's buying all of the books for the book club. And they have like a 2-month relationship, which it is our romance reader's first relationship. Even though he's an adult, I understand that can be really, emotionally impactful. So I'm not, trying to make you feel bad if it's like you're an adult and you've never had a relationship or you've had one really brief one. That's completely valid, and you're not alone. Tons of people have that, okay? However, they have a dumb breakup, which you know. You know I don't like that. They have a dumb breakup, and romance reader boy, just whose entire personality, mind you, was reading romance books. That was like everything we knew about him, okay? He is a romance reader. That is his identity, much like many of the white women that are in romance India. But moving on, that's his entire identity. He has this 2-month relationship end and is like, burn all the romance books. Romance isn't real. I was a fool for ever believing in love. And just like completely changes his entire personality, his entire schedule, everything that he's about, so that romance books are no longer a part of it. Even though that was his entire life. Over a 2-month relationship. Now, I understand maybe not wanting to read a romance book the day of your breakup or the week of your breakup, but to have like this small little relationship when you're not like 14, so you should have some more maturity. Even if you haven't been in a relationship, there's still maturity that comes with the years. So you're an adult, you break up, and life is over. Romance is dead. My hobby? No more. I am now jaded. I was just like, what is happening right now? What is happening? I didn't think that it delivered, and I was like, this is dumb. This is stupid. So I ended that book very unsatisfied. Very unsatisfied, because I was just like, I don't know. You're kind of dumb. I don't know if you deserve happiness. Then I have Stolen Ice Bride by Angela J. Ford. This is a novella, and it's a fantasy romance, and I was pretty excited to read this. I thought I was going to love it. I did not. This was just paper cutouts of characters with like some scotch tape holding the plot together. That was it. There was no depth, no development. It's like the main character had to run away, and then the love interest was like, well, I have to kidnap you, and then they walk through the snow, and then she runs away and he gets her, and then they walk through the snow, and then they're like, oh, also there's magic here, and like, I'm gonna sacrifice myself for you. And it's like, why? Why? And it's like, no, I love you more than anything. And I'm like, when did this happen? And it's like, oh, this big scary magic that we've been hinting at the entire time. Oh, you're a dragon or whatever, and you're not actually evil. And that description is like the book. That's how much like emotion and depth and detail and dialogue you're getting in the book. It's just, oh, and then this happened. I love you. I don't know why. We have no idea why I would care about you, or why I would sacrifice the thing that I've been hiding my entire life to save you. I don't know. You don't know. I mean, we barely know each other, and we definitely didn't talk or any of the things. It was just so, like, I am convinced, this is rude. This is rude, but I am convinced a child could have written this story with more emotion and depth and interesting bits than this was. This was the most boring, weird, unfinished sketch. It was almost like the idea of a story, and that was what, and they were just like, and then they walked and got there, and then they fell in love, and then she sacrificed herself for him, and then he was like, no, don't die, and then she lived. That was the story, and I was just like, what is this? This is not good. So that was disappointing. Then I'm Willing by Izzy Sweet and Sean Moriarty. Now they have a mafia series that I love. I would still argue that it's not good, but it is like my all-time favorite, you know, that type of thing. This was vampire fated mates again. And first of all, the first full 50% of this was religious abuse and trauma. Like a lot of it. Torturing her so all the blood comes out of her body so the beast can't get her because she's a vampire mate and stuff. Like, it was a lot. And if I had known, if you know me, I don't like religious trauma and abuse. I don't like reading it. If I had known the first 50% of this book was that, I would have never picked it up. That is. And then she gets captured by like this other vampire who is going to break like all the rules of their kind and try and force her to be his mate, even though a vampire mate, they already have one specific mate because he hasn't claimed her yet. And her stupid little witchy, idiotic, we don't care about her, melodramatic, jealous roommate, you know, causes all of this. And then she keeps like risking her life to try and rescue the roommate. I'm like, why? She literally tried to have you killed. She broke the only rule because she knew that it would upset you. First of all, if I had my way, all the religious abuse would be gone. But then secondly, we would have killed the roommate so quickly. Let her die. What are we doing? What are we doing? Why are we going out of our way and risking life and limb and fated mate and all the things to rescue this annoying, awful person who is so jealous and so petty and so self-absorbed that they would literally happily watch you die if they didn't have to put up with you anymore? Let her die. Who cares? Nobody cares. And then also her vampire mate has like a bunch of turned vampires, right? Which is like really normal in vampire mythology and all the things. But they all call them like mother and father and mommy and daddy. And she's like 18 or 20 and they're all like hundreds of years old. And they keep like, obviously they have better senses, so I hear them having sex and stuff. And they're like, go mommy. I was so weirded out. I was like, what is this weirdness? You can't call her mother when she's been a vampire for a day and is 20 years old. It's weird. It's real weird. Then I have Thieves and Monsters, which is Three Fates Mafia #1 by Cleo Evans. Where do I even start with this? So the Three Fates in Greek mythology, you know, they're like making matches basically. And you have Cerberus, is that the three-headed dog? And it's actually like 3 men, and the 3 men can shift into monster, like shifters, so almost like bigger, but they stand upright like a man, but they have the head of the dog, you know, that type of avatar. So this is why I choose. So they picked this girl, and I don't even remember who she is or why any of the things. She's their fated mate. The only reason that they have any sort of relationship with her is because she's their fated mate. There was never any sort of development on that. There was no reason for them to like each other except fated mate. Like, they never had any conversations, none of those things. And, you know, I like to watch you fall in love. I like to watch you have clever dialogue and interact with each other. And I'm just like, yes, these people belong together. That didn't happen. But then you have Hades and Persephone obviously still run the underworld. And Cerberus has been, like, exiled, so they're in the real world, and they have a mafia. Why? Nobody knows. But it turns out that Hades and Persephone's daughter has been in love with Cerberus and got them exiled over, like, some jealousy. And sets up their fated mate girl to like get captured by somebody else, and so they like go to war for her and stuff. And then Hades' daughter shows up and they kill her. They kill her, and I'm just like, wait. So she is the daughter of the ruler of the underworld. She had enough power to get you exiled from your rightful home in the underworld just because she said something. And in this story, we're just going to kill her with impunity. Nothing is going to happen. She could ruin your entire life with one sentence, but you can kill her and it's gonna be fine? I don't think so. Like, it just made no sense from a plot standpoint. And then also, remember how I said that they were men who could change into like their avatars? Well, then those avatars can also combine so that you get Cerberus, the actual, like, giant three-headed dog, right? And this is where the bestiality comes in. They have their 3 heads, they have their 4 legs, they have their tail, but for some reason, they also have 3 cocks. Now, mind you, we are now in, like, animal shape, right? No longer monster romance, we're in animal shape. And now you've lost me. I gotta say, that's my line. You can't be, you can't be just like a real life animal and do the do. Like, I am out. So we're doggy. We're doggy. And we have 3 for unknown reasons, because everything else except for the heads is supposed to just be like a one animal type situation, right? But no, we've got 3 heads, everything else is one animal, and then we have 3 cocks for unknown reasons. And then somehow, even though our 3 cocks are like right next to each other somehow, and are also like, so we have 3 cocks, and also they're this big. Also they're this big, and they're like attached like so, I think. You know, I can't see very well while I'm reading. And then somehow she takes all 3 of them at the same time in 3 different holes. Now, I don't know about you, but I just feel like if you already in the story had it where she couldn't do this for the much smaller avatars, that it would not make a whole lot of sense that in our ginormous big as a house animal form, we were suddenly able to make it happen. Like, I'm sorry, but I can suspend my disbelief for a lot of things in monster romance, but this one was just too much for me in a way that I was just freaking out reading it. I had to tell my husband about this, and let me tell you, he judged me, okay? But I just had to bet, because how does this make sense? How is this a fun, sexy time? How is this the finale of your book? I don't understand. And I don't really want to. And so that's it for me for that one. Congestion is killing me. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Okay. 4 Aunties and a Wedding, which is Aunties number 2 by Jessie Q. Santanto. If Fina is watching this, she's gonna make fun of me, because the first book was on my best of the year list last year, and it was on her worst of the year list last year. This is like a multi-generational family drama comedy where there's murder and over-the-top shenanigans and like a little thread of romance, right? The first book, I laughed out loud so many times. I really did enjoy it. This book, I did not. So this builds on the first book. So her second chance romance with her college sweetheart, now they're getting married. And somehow the mafia is involved. Indonesian mafia or something. And they are going to kill somebody at her wedding. All of her wedding staff is in on it. They hired this family business that's really similar to them. They do weddings. They hired someone really similar, and well, it turns out that they are trying to kill someone at their wedding. So her and her mother and her aunts, they like figure out who it is, and they're doing all this stuff to try and protect her. And also like all of the acceptance that we went through in the first book, of accepting her family and not being embarrassed by them or weirded out by them or feeling like they were too much, all of that goes right down the window. We're back at square one. where everything they do is so embarrassing and we hate it and we can't handle it. And I'm like, you're like a 30-year-old woman who's getting married. Figure it out. Like, I don't know how to tell you to stop being embarrassed of your family by this point in life. You're not a teenager. It's normal to be embarrassed by your family as a teenager, but you're a grown adult. Figure it out. I thought we already did figure it out. I thought that was part of the point of book 1. So why are we back to the beginning at book 2? And some of it is the blending of families and his family not being accepting of her family. And, like, that's understandable. That's always hard. That is difficult. But at the same time, what are you doing being embarrassed by your family as a 30-year-old? I was mad because we already did this character development. Why are we back at the beginning? But then, because of the mafia stuff, they are trying to stop it. And they basically completely ruin her entire wedding day. Mostly her, and her mother and aunts are involved also. Like, they ruin her wedding day, right? And she won't tell her groom what's going on, even though he very clearly knows that something's going on. And she won't tell him, which that to me is just no. Immediately no. No, you're marrying this person. Tell them. I don't care if your wedding photographer is like, oh, you better not tell him. Tell him. What are you doing? You are ruining your entire wedding day, and you won't even tell your groom why. So, I mean, they go through over-the-top shenanigans, just dumb decisions that didn't have to be made, ruining the wedding day step by step by step by step. And then it was all unnecessary. It was basically a misunderstanding. It was unnecessary. All of it was unnecessary. And by that time, I was just ready to, like, put a fork in it and be done. Like, I am over this entire thing. The whole thing was like some sort of caricature of the first book. It took all the things I loved about the first book and made it and made it just a bad version of it. It was just a bad version of the first book. Instead of building on the first book and giving us another fun story, it was trying to redo the first book, and it was just sad and disappointing and, like, embarrassing and dumb. None of it was funny, and all of it was sad because she was ruining her wedding day. And I was just like, oh, that sucks. Like, that really sucks. And that was all I felt about that book. So I was so sad. I was really looking forward to it. I needed something lighthearted. I thought it would be it, and it wasn't. And I have Queen of Nothing, which is Reina del Cartel, #1 by Santa Knox. So she was like the princess of the cartel, and then her father got ousted, and then her father like tortured her to prepare her to be the queen of the cartel, right? Far more than he needed to, according to her bodyguard. He tortured her, all sorts of things, to make her unbreakable, to make her the strongest that there was so that she could be the head of the cartel. And eventually her father was killed, I think, and it's like her uncle is trying to take her out so that she can't return to the cartel. And she fell in love with this boy when she was like 10, and then they were high school sweethearts, college sweethearts. He was her everything, and then she left him because it wasn't safe, and now she's back because he's the head of his own pretty powerful crime syndicate, but he has messed with the cartel, and she wants him safe, and she needs protection. She's going to die. And he also has like his 2 best friends, and it's why I choose. So he loves her, and then there's this whole thing where they have this sort of competition thing where they like kidnap girls from other organizations who are sex workers who are being forced into it. And then they basically like brainwash them and use them as spies, give them their freedom. Honestly, it's a little bit confusing. This is like their 3rd year doing it. It's competition between all the men, yada, yada, yada. And he makes her be part of it. And she won't tell him what she's running from. So he is bound and determined to break her so she'll tell him so he can protect her. So they're going through this and stuff. And she's all like, my father tortured me. I'm unbreakable. Oh no, I'm already broken. Oh no, he looked at me with compassion. I can't stand up against that. oh no, the love of my life is torturing me. What am I supposed to do? I'm like, make up your mind. Either you are the baddest to have ever been, or you're not. Like, pick one. So her family was killed in a massacre, a shooting and stuff, and she was locked in the closet and she couldn't get out. And so he does like this special tiny torture box. So she's claustrophobic, right? Hates the dark. And he knows this. He was there. Like, he got her the day that her family killed. So he takes her deepest trauma. He makes a torture box. And it's a too small box, and it's completely dark, and it's the sounds of gunfire and screaming and all the things. And it is a replica of the day that her family was killed when she was a child, right? And he puts her in there all the time for like hours, for days at a time, because he's bound and determined to break her, and she still won't tell him, and his friends are mad at him, and they keep playing all these different games where they're like trying to get her to open up with kindness, and then oh no, back to the box, and then she's in with the other girls, and then they try and kill her, and then it's like, oh, we made a mistake with these girls, some of them were like undercover, and it's like, y'all seem like idiots. Like, none of this seems... You keep claiming about how you're the best of the best and like a genius and you have all these techniques and it works every time. But you are failing spectacularly on every front, and all of it is dumb and all of it is stupid. Okay, so then she ends up getting captured at the end of the book and taken by, like, her uncle or somebody, or I don't even know. And they're like, oh no, we're gonna get her back. So then I opened the second book, and it's like, this book is so much darker than the first one. And I was like, what? What? And like the entire book, they're like apart, and I was like, no, this is dumb. You are trying to make like this unbreakable queen, and yet you're just torturing a girl, and that's it. That's it. That's it. I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. It's too dark, and the dark was stupid. Like, the dark had no point. The dark didn't mesh with each other. It kept contradicting itself. Make it make sense. Have a linear storyline. Have it go. Have, like, progress being built. You can't just woo, 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 woo. Torture. Sexy times. I mean, I don't know. I don't like it. And lastly, I'm taken by the Tetris blocks. An erotic short story by Leonard Delaney. This was a dramatic reading with friends at Megan at Meowth Vader's birthday live, and it was a fun time. I was dying of laughter. It was priceless. But when I tell you that this is possibly one of the worst things I've ever had the misfortune of laying my eyes upon, it is. Oh, not only is this... If this were just a workplace romance, it would be terrible. So you have this girl, she went to raise, she's talking about how she could use her body to seduce her boss and everything, but she doesn't because she's not like those other sluts. And basically she could rise to the top of the company if she would just sleep with everyone, but she's not going to do that. So then she goes to her boss and she's like, I do all this, and he dismisses all of her work, and then she quits or gets fired or whatever. She is like, I'm completely unaffected. This is exactly what was supposed to happen. If you won't pay me, someone else will pay me. And then she's crying in the work bathroom. So we had a quick switcheroo from being boss babe to, you know, what am I gonna do? Also, just like a sexualization was really weird and really creepy. So then there's these Tetris block aliens who have a Russian accent because Tetris was made in Russia, apparently. And one of them is the countertop in the basement bathroom at her work. And so he starts banging her, and then his friend comes and he starts banging her. And then like so we've got like the T block and the Z block, and then we get like the big L block or whatever. And now they're all banging her in the work bathroom. In the work bathroom. For unknown reasons. Also, they like float and stuff. Nobody really knows. And they were leaving the work anyways that day. So everyone's leaving work that day, never to return. And then, at the end of it, we find out that she has hard corners in her stomach and is in fact pregnant with a Tetris block. It was even worse than I just made it sound. Was it short? Yes. Was the dramatic reading funny? Yes, it was. Am I a little appalled that this even exists in the mind of someone, much less was put in a short story? Yeah. I didn't need to know this about my fellow humans. I could have gone on living without this knowledge. But now I've shared it with you, so you're welcome. Alright, I was going to film other videos today, but I cannot. So, hopefully you're going to get more videos this week. We'll see if I can film it. But thanks for watching. I hope editing turns this okay. But I guess it's only fitting that I did not have a good time filming this after having such a terrible time reading it. So, thanks for watching. Bye.